Hello, everyone. My name is Tammy. Welcome back to Shea Butter Ventures. Today, we're going to be talking about CGFNS versus NNAS. And we're going to not decide, because CGFNS and NNAS, you need to know where you're going to use any one of them, but I've used both. So I'm going to tell you what I like about them, what I don't like about them, the rambling and whatever. And let's just get into it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm a baby channel, so help me grow. Okay, so let's start with CGFNS and then we move on to NNAS. So CGFNS, I'll put what it stands for on the screen. It's just what you have. Every nurse who wants to move to the US who isn't like a US citizen or went to school in the US knows what CGFNS is, or you should know what CGFNS is. CGFNS is the credentialing body for the US. So if you did not go to school in the US, for nursing, if you did not grow up in the US citizen, and went to school in the US, you won't even have to worry about CGFNS. But for us, who did not go to school in the US for nursing, we know what CGFNS is, right? So CGFNS is where they look at all your documents from your home country and decide if they are up to par with the US standard. CGFNS tells you if you can sit your NCLEX or not, unless you decide to go through New York, because New York doesn't need CGFNS, right? But most of us do not go through New York, so we need CGFNS. So CGFNS requires a few documents. Before you can sit your NCLEX, they require your nursing school diploma, your high school diploma, or your credentialing diploma or certificate. Like for the Bahamas, it's the BGCSE certificate. If you're in another country, it's just like that exam that you take when you're probably like in grade 12 or grade 11 to qualify for anything in your country. So they require that. They require your nursing license and they require your nursing diploma. But the nursing license has to come straight from your nursing licensing board, Bahamas Nursing Council, or it has, and your nursing degree has to come from your nursing school. For me, that was the University of Bahamas. Some other Bahamian students may go to different Bahamian schools, and also Sojourner Douglas, you don't have to send in your stuff. All those other different places, you don't have to send in your stuff, basically. And then once all that is approved, you would get your AOK from CGFNS, and you basically can send it off to your board of nursing. I have a whole other video on that. I will link that down in the description box because we are not going there today. And then that decides if you can sit your NCLEX or not. Today we're just talking about CGFNS as a whole. I feel like CGFNS as a whole, I rated a 7 out of 10. It is very efficient. They get your documents and mark them as received within a month. Not that time efficient. You could get your CGFNS documents there, like your nursing certificate. You could see that it's there Monday, and it will take them 3 weeks to mark it as there. But I mean, you have to understand there's a bunch of different nurses sending in that stuff. So, I understand, but it's also So CGFNS does take a while to mark your documents as received. They do take a while to answer back to your calls. They do take a while to answer your emails. They take a while to do everything, but they do not take as long as NNAS, but we're not going there yet. With CGFNS, at least you do get a reply back. Expect 2 to 5 days to get an email back through their correspondence tab. And I will say, if you're going to call CGFNS, they open at, I think 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. When they open, I would say you need to call them when they open. If they open 9 a.m., you need to call them. You need to be on your phone at 8:59, and as soon as that hits 9 a.m., you need to press the call button and call, because they are busy throughout the entire day. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. You are dealing with nurses all over the world. You're dealing with Filipino nurses, Indian nurses, Caribbean nurses, UK nurses. They're dealing with a lot. So they're going to have a lot of phone calls because everybody wants to know where their documents are, what's happening. So I give them a 7 out of 10, but it's honestly a 7.5, maybe even an 8. They do really well, in my opinion. I would say as soon as you start your CGFNS process, you send your stuff in immediately. You get your stuff in as soon as you pay for CGFNS, which most of us will be paying for our CES report, the professional certificate. I'll put that up in the screen. And once you pay for that, I would say go to your places immediately after, because it's going to take at least a month for them to mark your stuff as received. And it's going to take them at least another 1 to 2 months just to mark your stuff as like A-OK. So that's a 3-month process just for CGFNS. Moving on to NNAS. Jeez. You want to know the stupid part? NNAS is CGFNS. Like, if you look at the mailing addresses, one of my friends told me this, and she was like, "You realize it's the same people?" And I was like, "They are." If you have to mail documents to CGFNS and NNAS, you're mailing them to the exact same place. I think like different suites or something like that. They're the same floor. They're the same people. Canada, like, like when people like outsource certain things, they outsource NNAS. So, in my opinion, I feel like CGFNS is more efficient than NNAS, and it's because the US wants the nurses, and they're like, "Oh, you sent stuff us for us to do. We're just gonna slow down their process, make them so mad at you as Canada, and we're just gonna make that process way more smooth." I went through NNAS. It was hell, complete not a hell. I wasted months because I wanted to go to Canada first. Wasted months just trying to get NNAS to respond with sense, asking them questions, and then they would answer, and then I would do something the NNAS said to do, and then they'd be like, "That's not right," and I'd be like, "But here's what you guys said, it's okay." NNAS, be objective. I would rate them with NNAS, I would rate them a 4, maybe 5 out of 10. And I give them the same benefit of the doubt that I give CGFNS. They deal with a lot of different nurses, India, Philippines, Caribbean, blah, blah, blah. But they take forever to respond. It's usually like nothing that you could basically say is with sense. So my problem with NNAS was, my name is Tamisha such and such and such, right? So with NNAS, they had a problem with like my second middle name. And I was like, "Okay, so what do you guys want me to do?" So I did what they wanted me to do. Still wasn't okay. Sent them in like other document that they said had to be like certified by a lawyer. Did that, said that wasn't okay. Then they said I had to do something else. I was like, and the thing is, the stuff that they want you to do is just, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it makes sense, but like the amount of money you spend is ridiculous. NNAS costs way more money than CGFNS. And for every step addition that you have to do, it's just not worth it. And 8 times out of 10, you're gonna get a non-comparable. I feel like I'm in a international nurses group who trying to go like to Canada, and the vast majority of them get a non-comparable. And it's annoying because usually it's only the UK nurses who get a comparable. Some US nurses don't even get a comparable to go to Canada. And then the steps it takes you to go through any province in Canada. A lot of us want to go to Toronto. Toronto has been a little bit better with easing the restrictions in terms of NNAS and all this other different stuff. But Canada is a very long road. I feel like that's something that I would do now that I'm in the US. Like, if I have time just to get it. But like, that Canada license is, you gotta fight for that. I was like, I already used fight back home to work. I already used fight all the days of my life to work in the barbers. I don't need to be fighting with y'all, and I don't even live there yet. And that's why a lot of people go through the schooling route with Canada. If you have the money, and honestly, if you're married, I would go to school route with Canada. You go in, do like a little 2-year course, get a 3-year postgrad work permit. While you are in school, your husband could work. That way, like, it doesn't really hurt that much in terms of bills, because that Canada school is expensive. You spend like 3 times as much as a Canadian student, which is, pretty much everywhere in the world. The international students spend more money. But I feel like I'm rambling, but NNAS requires basically more than CGFNS, because NNAS requires you to have the course syllabus at the university. So the course syllabus is every single class you've ever taken while you're in university. NNAS wants it. They want the syllabus for that. So you have to go to your university and apply for the course syllabus to be sent. At UB, University of the Bahamas, the course syllabus is like $5 each, but you take so much freaking courses. So you spend like almost $300, almost $400 just to send that to NNAS. Then you have to get a identification document sent that is like your passport and your driver's license has to get notarized. And then you have to get that sent. Notary is money over here, and then you have to get that sent to CGFNS, which is also money. And then it's like basically the other thing is the same thing that CGFNS requires, which isn't as much, but the cost is definitely higher for NNAS. And then you're probably going to get a non-comparable, which is going to cost you even more money to go through the ropes of the Canadian license. So when comparing NNAS and CGFNS, in terms of ease of service, I would honestly give it to CGFNS hands down. CGFNS, they take long to respond to your emails, they take long to answer the phone, but at least they answer the phone, and at least the information they give you actually makes sense and is what you need. With NNAS, they take forever to answer your email, they take forever to answer your calls, the information they give you, if like another person has to deal with your case, they'd be like, that's not what we want. So, but I also blame it on the fact that like it's all handled in Canada. Like NNAS is not handled in Canada. That's handled in the US and Philadelphia. And the same people at CGFNS. So they probably don't know exactly. They probably have like this paper that they have to go by. And it's just like, if it doesn't fit that paper, because we can't confer with the other people in Canada, immediately we just have to say no. So I feel like that's like a barrier. If you have any questions about CGFNS versus NNAS, if you want me to do a more detailed video on what, I don't really know, you could let me know. Once again, my name is Tammy. You can find me on Instagram at Shea Butter Ventures. You can find me on TikTok at Shea Butter Ventures 25. And you obviously can find me on YouTube at Shea Butter Ventures. My name is Tammy. I am from the Bahamas, and I am trying to make the Caribbean nurses in particular are more included in this immigration process. So if you have a question, ask me. If you have a video idea, tell me. I will respond. Maybe not right away, but I will respond. Thank you once again for watching my video. I remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Happy venturing. Bye.